Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are around the world. I am sending you so much love from my heart to yours. Ladies and gents, can you please do me a favour and smash the love heart for me and tag anybody that you know to let them know that I'm talking on this very, very, very important subject today. Can you do me a favour in the comments and let me know that you can hear me okay? I haven't done a video that is streaming for Facebook and YouTube recently, so I'm actually just going to log into Facebook. I hope that it's going to be, yes, thankfully there's no noise on the background, so I'm just going to check. Yeah, there we are. So we are live on Facebook, which is absolutely awesome. I'm going to share it into a couple of groups whilst I'm at it, but if you guys can just let me know that you can hear me okay. And YouTube, apologies for this, guys. I just haven't done one of these in a very long time, so I thought I better get everything checked with you gorgeous bunch. Perfect, thank you. Now, there may be a bit of an echoey because I'm in a quite bare apartment at the moment, so yeah, if it's a little bit echoey again, I apologize, but I do have my mic, which is really, really handy, so the sound quality should be a lot better. So first and foremost, how are we all doing? Let me know where around the world you are listening from. Let me know how your week has been. It's really, really, really important that I let you know that we are in Mercury retrograde. Yes. And what's fascinating today is there has been a couple of things, and I'm like, what is going on with people's communication today? Like, what's happening? And then okay. So I thought maybe what I should do is just actually check the dates of Mercury retrograde. And I knew we were already in it, but I wondered how much longer it's going to last for. We've got 13 days to go until Mercury retrograde is over. Batten down the hatches. What's fascinating is it's normally in the first week to 10 days that I notice, like between like 7 and 10 days, where I notice the communication is perhaps not quite as it should be, and then all of a sudden it makes sense, and then you can obviously work with it and mitigate it. So yeah, just raising it into the consciousness for you guys that Mercury retrograde is taking place now. Travel during Mercury retrograde is absolutely amazing. You will get everything that you need when you get to the destination. It may not be easy to get there, but it will be absolutely amazing when you get there, and that you can just lean into it. So yeah, Kathy, what's really funny is we've had emails go out with wrong links on and all sorts of things. It's been really, really quite amusing. So remember, this is just a bit of a side note from the topic that I'm going to talk about today. Remember just to pop that beautiful golden infinity between your heart and whatever it is that you're using, whether it is your phone, whether it is your laptop or whatever. Just that's what I would recommend that each of you do right now, is just love the technology, love the journey, love wherever you are in your life, because trust me, it's going to make it a lot easier. And sometimes you need to step away from conversations to actually get a little bit of clarity. Okay, so sometimes it's just easier and better for everybody involved if you say, right, I'm just going to take some time now. So is everybody doing good? Is everybody doing okay? I hope that you guys are. It seems like it's been a long time since I actually jumped on and did a live. So I need to be getting back to doing these more regularly, but I am going to change the slot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do it later on in an evening, so that we've got the UK that can attend, we've got the US that can attend, and we've got Australia that have to catch it in their morning. As you guys know, that those three are my top three countries where I've got my biggest following. So I actually want to make sure that we're covering each of those. Now, before anybody gets upset, when I talk about Australia, of course, New Zealand is in there. When I talk about England, I mean the United Kingdom, and I also include the whole of Europe in that as well, because I've got a lot of people in Europe that follow me as well. So I want to just really make a little bit more of an effort to find a time that works better for all of us going forwards. So I'm glad, Derek, you've had a good week. I'm glad some of you are traveling and enjoying yourself, because it is really, really important. So it's the 2nd of December. So what does that mean? 2 months till my birthday. That's what that means. It's all about me, don't you know? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, 2 months today, it's my birthday. So I'm giving you a nice warning. Save your money over Christmas. You can all like bulk together and buy me a present if you like. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I actually have to do a call on my birthday, which is really funny. We've got a really beautiful Soul School coaching program taking place off the back of the Soul School retreat that we ran. And I'm going to be doing a call on my birthday in the evening. I mean, I didn't work that out very well at all, did I? But it's going to be super exciting because I'll get them all to sing to me or something like that, which would be amazing. So, communication's going up and down. Good. I'm glad that you're just recognizing it. Just go with the flow with it. Honestly, just go with the flow and just allow it to be right now. I'm from Preston, Lancashire. It's been wild energy. I got the other day and it was the 3:33. Brilliant. Love that. Been decluttering. Amazing. I'm so glad that you have been decluttering like a crazy thing. Now, the reason I say it's really important right now is holding on to clutter is a trauma response, which is leading me in nicely into the topic that we are going to be talking about today. But before I do that, welcome to December, guys. Happy December. It is a wild one out there right now, right? November was absolutely batshit crazy. Anybody that came to the retreat in November, I feel so privileged to have been able to spend time with you and love on you and just really, you know, getting properly connected on another level with some of you gorgeous people that I've seen at my events and things like that, but I've never been able to, you know, really spend time like that. So our present should be to attend Soul School online and or the Quantum Leap in March. Our present should be, right, is that a present to me or are you like, or do I have to pay for all of you? Is that what you're saying? I love that. Anyway, whichever one it is, I love it. So yeah, November has been absolutely wild. We are storming into 2025 and I am going to be putting the January energy update out really soon if I get guided to. Now, we've obviously got 2 new moons in December. One was yesterday, one's on the 30th of December, and then we've also got the full moon, which is in the middle of the month, and then we step into January. But January is going to be absolutely massive. It's going to be November on steroids. You heard it here first. More plot twists are coming, my friends. There is going to be so much buoyancy over the coming months, and people are going to be losing their shit. Beep. So be very conscious of where you are investing your energy. Be very aware of the trauma responses that are coming up in yourself, where you're being triggered. Let me know in the chat, have any of you ever been triggered? Should be getting a yes from absolutely every single person that is on this video right now. Absolutely. Okay. It is really important that we recognize that triggering or something triggering us is our responsibility. It's our responsibility to look at that. And I'm going to be going into that in very shortly. So remember, this period that we are in at the moment, before I step into more about the trauma, is a very creative period. Remember, it is a period where we can create absolutely anything, which is good, bad, and ugly. Okay, so focus your energy, direct your energy into a space. For those of you that follow me on Instagram, for those of you that don't, it's the same as this channel. So Lucy Davis 2222. Any of you, and also I'm on Facebook as Lucy Davis 2222. I do these videos to my personal page because I haven't quite figured out how to put it on my business page, but I will do at some point and redirect that. So everything is just linked to Lucy Davis 2222. Now, what's really important is we recognize that, you know, everything that we are creating at the moment is basically setting us up for the future. So if we are letting things go, if we're not actually saying to people, hey, this doesn't sit right with me, you know, you're actually creating a trauma response within you. And then what happens is later down the line, let me know if this resonates with you, you end up getting triggered. So what happens is, let's say, for example, Veronica and I are having a conversation, and I know she won't mind me using her as an example because she's one of my moderators, so I know she'll be good with it. So let's say Veronica and I are having a conversation, and the last woman that had a conversation with Veronica about the subject that we're talking about was her mum, and her mum always made her feel like she wasn't good enough. You know, like she just didn't feel like she was good enough. So maybe something that I said to Veronica created that trigger reaction within her. So it was that familiar feeling that she's used to, whereby she would have a bit of a reaction because she felt it was her mother telling her she's not good enough. So now she's made an assumption that I think that she's not good enough. Okay, is this making sense, guys, so far? Now, what happens when we have a trigger, when we have that reaction, and everybody has reactions. I have reactions. Everybody has reactions, you know, and you guys know I've been working on myself for 12 years. I've worked with a number of different coaches. I've done all this stuff. You know, I go into meditation twice a year and sit in silence for 7 days or whatever, because I really value figuring out more and more of where my trauma has come from and where I need to invest time, love, effort, energy into getting it into line, if that makes sense. So the reason I'm sharing this is everything that I am going to share with you this evening is all about your reactions. Everything is about your reaction. You can decide to lose it and get angry and go to that familiar feeling that you've had when you weren't heard and you stamped your feet, and the first time that you threw yourself on the floor and had a hissy fit and had a tantrum. You can either do that, or what you can do is you can say, hey, I'm going to sit with this right now. And I'm actually going to really feel this, and then I'm going to learn how to process it. And ladies and gents, this is where your body communicates with you. So I truly, truly believe that the body, and everybody knows this about me. I've been talking about this subject for, I think the first time I ever spoke out on this subject was 2015. Okay, so it's nearly 10 years, and I've been just regurgitating the same stuff, because I realized in 2015 that my whole physical vessel had held on to so much trauma that I was very sick to the point that I nearly died. Okay, so it's really important that whatever is going on in your body right now, and hopefully some of you have a pen and paper handy. If you've got a pen and paper handy, write down everything that is going on with you right now physically. So have you been getting headaches? Have you been losing hair? Have your eyelashes or your eyebrows been falling out? Or has your skin got pimples? Or does your heart ache a little bit? Or have you got a stiff joint? Or I want you to go and I want you to put everything down on a piece of paper. And if you can't do it now whilst you're listening to this, please do this exercise afterwards. Get very aware of all of the aches, the pains, and any limitations that you've got in your body, because any of this stuff, I don't care if you went to the gym and you've squatted, you know, the heaviest that you've squatted in a long time and you've got a bit of muscle ache going on. This is your body talking to you and letting you know that it is having a trauma response. Smash the love heart for me, or give me a thumbs up if this makes sense to you right now where we're at. Now, the effects of trauma on the body can be any number of things. And some of this is going to really highlight where you are, because I personally believe that, weight gain is a trauma response. I feel that weight loss is a trauma response. I feel every single dis-ease that is known to man, from a cold to a mosquito bite, not that that's a disease, by the way, to fibromyalgia, to cancer, all the way through. I truly believe this is your body looking to protect you because you have had a reaction at something, and rather than actually deal with it, rather than actually express it, rather than, really get into the nitty-gritty and feel it and talk about it and release it, you've held on to it. And this, my friends, is why we become sick. So I am going to share a couple of examples about me, if that's okay with you. They might trigger some people, but I want to be really, really open, and I want to be really honest with you guys. So I've decided today, rather than just making up some scenarios, I'm actually going to talk about myself. So, you know, a lot of people might not know this. A lot of people might know it. I'm not too sure. I know I've spoken about it on Instagram once, but not everything that I'm about to share. So last year in 2023, actually, no, that's not true. So in November of 2022, so 2 years ago now, last month, I conceived and I lost the baby. In February 2023, I conceived again, and obviously you guys know that I lost the baby at about 10 weeks. Now, what's fascinating is that after losing the second baby, I went into, right, I'm going to fast, I'm going to do all this stuff. And then what I realized a couple of months down the line is that my body had had a massive reaction and my body didn't feel like mine anymore. And this is why I get quite passionate when there's people out there saying, oh, just fast, oh, just fast, oh, just fast, oh, take this parasite cleanse, oh, just take this pill or take this. Like, it really troubles me that there are people out there doing this. You know, I've invested so many years in connecting with my body and figuring out what works best and what doesn't work best. And the worst decision that I made after having the traumatic situation in my body of a pregnancy, and I know Veronica's just had a baby, so this is going to help her. Just because I didn't go full term doesn't mean that my body didn't go through the trauma that is linked with being pregnant. Now, I don't think I've ever heard anybody speak about pregnancy being traumatic. But if you actually stop and think about what a woman's body has to go through, whether they go full term or not, you know, a miscarriage is extremely, extremely traumatic. On top of that, the physical impact of having a baby is extremely traumatic for a woman as well. So why do we then go and body shame people that they should be back to their previous size within a certain number of weeks? Bit of a tangent there on the body shaming, but I'm just going to bring it back. So I had 2 pregnancies in the space of a number of months, okay? And a few months after, like, I went on this, I need to detox, I need to cleanse, I just need to like be really, really present with my body, love her and all the rest of it. And I genuinely thought I was doing the right thing by fasting and just getting back into alignment with my physical body, but it wasn't. It was the worst thing I could have done. And then what happened was my body had a trauma response. And then what happened is, and I'm going to say this because I almost know this to be true. Well, it's definitely true where I'm concerned. But then it takes about 2 years for your body to actually get back to where it needed to be. And I didn't even go full term. So I had 2 pregnancies in a very short period of time, lots of trauma around that. And it's only now that my body, literally a few days ago, I was like, oh my goodness, my body is back. My body doesn't feel that weird energy in it anymore. Like, it's literally like my body has gone, okay, you have been so peaceful, you have been so calm, I am so grateful for you just giving me that time. And literally, boom. You know, admittedly, I lost the second baby in April. So, you know, it's you know, it hasn't actually been 2 years, but it was 2 years from the first time when I conceived. So I just wanted to really be honest and open with you guys. So that's something that I've observed from pregnancy. Okay. Now let's stop and think about when your mum told you that you weren't good enough when you were little. And you felt sad. So some people would have felt sad. Some people would have felt guilt at that. Why aren't I good enough, mum? Some people would have been angry about that. Some people would have had resentment about that. Some people would have gone like into their shell and never spoken again because of that. We all have different trauma responses based on who we are, based on what we incarnated to do. So it's very important that we recognize that absolutely everything is going into our body and not a lot of it is coming out. Are you guys keeping up with this? I hope you guys are keeping up with this. Is this making sense and is this being helpful? Because, you know, I want to add value to you guys. I'm not here just to chat at you for the sake of chatting at you. I really, really would like you guys to recognize and start thinking about the kind of effects that the trauma has had on your body. Like, what have you lived through? How has your body shown up? You know, fibromyalgia is a topic that I talk about consistently. When you are somebody who has got fibromyalgia, you have created so much pain on the inside in your mind and in your trauma that your physical body gives you the pain that you perceive yourself to have been in. So I need you guys to just get connected with this. Cool, I'm glad it's making sense. Please, please, please recognize whatever is going on in your body is a direct link to the trauma that you have lived through. Now, I've chosen those words very carefully because remember, trauma only gets created off of the reaction that we have. Let me just say that once more. Trauma is only created off of the reaction that we have. Now, there's no judgment when I say that. When we're little, the only things we know how to do when something hurts us, all we know how to do is cry, shout, scream. You know, what else do we know how to do? We don't know how to sit down and be like, hey, mummy, you know, what you just said there really hurt me. So can we just sit down and have a conversation about it? No, you don't know how to do that. Like, I would run to my bedroom. Some people would just sit there and cry and get really upset. That wasn't me. I just ran away. And then I would perpetuate the feeling. That was the reaction that I had. So again, what was the reaction that you had? When something didn't go your way, or when you felt as if you were being hurt, or when you felt that somebody had let you down, or somebody had left you, or whatever, what was your reaction? Because again, this imprints the emotional trauma responses that occur in the body. So your relationship, in fact, no, let me just continue with the pregnancy thing, right? So I had these 2 pregnancies, unfortunately lost both of them via a miscarriage. And then I put myself into a deep fasting program, and I was really firm about it. I was really strict. I needed to get my head together. I really, really wanted to invest in me and getting my health back, because I saw myself having a child. And so I put myself in this fasting process. So now picture this scene. Trauma on the body. 2 miscarriages pretty much back to back. A lot of trauma for the body. A lot of trauma for me physically. Not saying it wasn't traumatic for him, because of course it was. But because I'm here talking to you, I'm going to talk about me rather than him, because he's not here to speak about it. And, you know, so I'm not speaking on behalf of him. I'm certainly not going to put words in his mouth. But from my perspective, it was extremely traumatic. Now, on top of this, I then put my body through a fasting period, which is traumatic. So what I have done here is I've taken 2 traumatic situations and I've added a 3rd one in all my innocence, in all my love of my body, in everything that I have always wanted to do. As you guys know, I've healed everything in my body. So I took that knowledge and shoehorned myself in. And this is why I will never give people, without a conversation and without some sort of coaching and without some sort of guidance, my fasting protocol. Because it's really important that we recognize if somebody has just gone through a massive traumatic event, first and foremost, as people found out over the last few years in my Self-Love Club program, when you remove food from the situation, oh my goodness gracious me, whoosh, does all of your trauma come to the surface. Crazy. It's crazy. So now what we're doing is we're compounding trauma by doing something which absolutely is nature's gift to all of us. However, your body is such a fragile machine that actually we need to nurture it and we need to love it and we need to nourish it for a period of time before we can put it into a place of doing some fasting. And what's fascinating is just a few days ago, and this is why that's what prompted me to do this topic today. A few days ago, I thought to myself, right, I can do a fast now. Now, I haven't done a fast in 12 months. You guys know I fast twice a year, every year, for about 20 to 30 days. Haven't done one in the last year because I got the memo. I got the memo big time that my body was under stress and I would put it under more stress by fasting. I cannot bear to see people going, eating and in the pub and whatever, and then the next day, I'm doing a water fast now. Like, it's the most traumatic thing you could do to your body. You have to prepare yourself for a fast. You have to prepare yourself to really step forwards and lean into whatever it is that you're going to do. It is so important that we recognize, so important, that we put so much pressure on our bodies. We expect our bodies to digest all day, every day. We expect our body to process all of the toxins and everything like that. At no point do we give our body the love that it deserves. What happens when you have experiences from childhood on words into adulthood? I don't think I had a break from it, Lucy. I was really sick. I was drawn into myself. I don't know what you mean by that. Like, I'd need to have probably a conversation with you about specific examples, specific words, specific ages, all sorts of things like that. It's not easy for me to just be able to go, it's about this. What you need to do is, as I said earlier in the video, and I really do expect you guys to take action off of this, write down everything that's gone on with your body. Literally write everything down. And then when you've got the list there, look at your reaction and how you've basically created that. And if you take ownership for the fact that it's your reaction that has created this. Now, like I said, we didn't know any better as a child. We literally did not know how to behave as a child. So what we need to do now is be really gentle with ourselves as we bring these things up for healing. So, Samantha, your mum has fibro. So your mum, in somewhere in her consciousness, she has perceived herself to be in so much pain that her body has physically gave her the pain that she has perceived herself to be in to justify her staying in her story. I hope that makes sense. I'm not saying, I'm not saying your mum is aware of any of this, by the way. What I'm saying is, every single person that I've worked with that has fibromyalgia, when I've got into the nitty gritty with it and really into the nuts and bolts, it is absolutely, they have perceived themselves to be in so much pain and neglected so badly. I had a lady who told me that her mum wanted to abort her from a certain number of weeks. And she's had that playing in her head the whole time. And she was riddled with fibro, until we did the work to release the trauma so that she could actually enjoy herself. Now, I haven't coached her for maybe 6 or 7 years, so I don't know where she's at on her journey today. But back then, she was walking without sticks and all sorts of things. And I've had loads of clients since then come to me with fibro and actually be able to break through from it. So I truly do believe if you can get, and maybe just ask your mum gentle questions. I wouldn't tell her what I'm saying because it will go straight over the top of her head. She'll probably have a reaction to it, probably create more pain in her fibro. She'll have a flare up. But what I would be doing is asking questions like, Mum, what went on in your life? Where were the biggest pain points in your life? And just get her to start thinking about it and talking about it. And by default, she's actually starting to release the trauma. Okay, you don't have to be some, specialist healer to be able to release trauma. Like, we just need to get people talking. If we can get people talking, then we will actually be led into a much happier and free existence. Listening to this, I recognise the pregnancy of my 3 children were all traumatic for me, severe vomiting throughout them, resulting in many hospital stays. Yeah, okay. What is known as postnatal depression, would you say? Is it a reaction to the trauma of pregnancy? No, I would say not what I think. I do feel that there is a hormonal dump that takes place in pregnancy. Whether you give birth to the baby or not, there is a hormone dump that takes place. And if you have had I'm going to use the word victim consciousness because I know you get what I'm talking about, Claire. If you've had victim consciousness before, it will perpetuate it. Whereas if you have maybe had a bit of trauma, but you're kind of dealing with it okay, then I truly believe that you might have a little bit of a spell, but then you can kind of bring it back in, if that makes sense. But I genuinely believe you need to go and look at your pregnancies. If you feel that your pregnancies were traumatic, go look at it. And I guarantee if you do it, what you'll see that the pregnancies were a direct reflection of something that has previously gone on in your life. We get given these and gifted these healing examples we just get gifted these healing examples, but because one shows up as a pregnancy, one shows up as a narcissistic relationship, one shows up as the car blowing in the tire blowing in the car, we don't actually connect the dots that they're actually linked. And a lot of, like I say, a lot of the clients that come and work with me, they're like, oh my God, I never realized there was a link between any of this. So it's really important that we recognize the amount of trauma that we have perceived ourselves to have. First and foremost, is going to come through into our children, so it's really important that we do look at this. It's really important that we get on top of where our victimhood is and things like that before we go in. What about skin issues, Lucy? I've spoken about this a million times, Kirsty, and I know you would have heard me say this before. It's all about irritation. It's all about irritation. The fact that it's your face, it's, the perception that you've got of yourself or that other people have of you. So it's very important that you recognize that you're frustrated with the way that people see you or that they don't see you, for example. And that's how the trauma shows up in the body with skin. You could be bitten by a mosquito. It's a trauma response. Honestly, and it really annoys people. How can it be a trauma response that the mosquito is biting me? The mosquito is biting you in the place whereby you need it being brought up into your consciousness that you have stuff going on. The issue that we have is that we genuinely don't have the knowledge on the planet. Somebody like me, I sit and talk about this subject all day long, as you guys know. Anybody that comes to my programs, my retreats, whatever, I go so deep into this subject because it is so important. Yet there's one of me. And yes, I know there's other people out there speaking about it, but how do we get the message spread much further than we possibly can? I don't know. I guess the thing is I just don't know how to do that. Hopefully it will come to me at some point and we'll be able to get it out there. But it is really important that we recognize it. So bowel perforated would be a lot of anger. So anything to do with the bowel is where anger is held. IBS is irritation. It's as simple as that. IBS is the term, and I've shared this many times before. I was flying to Egypt. Was it earlier this year or was it last year? I can't remember. At some point I was flying to Egypt and I was sat next to a specialist, a bowel, a gastro specialist. And we had the most amazing conversation. Honestly, I get placed next to the most amazing people when I fly. I was sat next to a guy on a plane the other day, and he was ex-Foreign Office, ex-CID, hilarious. Like, the conversation I had with him was absolutely hilarious and exactly what I needed to hear that day. I was like, oh, really interesting. So on this occasion, I was sat next to a specialist and we went through all of this stuff. And I said, look, my belief system is that everything in the human body is linked to emotional trauma. And he was like, oh, explain that to me. So I was chatting to him about my perspective, and I said, look, I don't think I'm right. This is my perspective. And he was like, you know what, Lucy, it's quite interesting. And he explained about certain things. And then he said to me, talk to me about your perspective on IBS. I was like, okay, cool. Again, you don't have to agree with me, but I'm going to share it with you. And he was like, yeah, okay, I'll be open. So I actually was really, really open about IBS. And do you know what he said to me, ladies and gents? He said to me, Lucy, we have never once been able to pinpoint IBS. It's just a term that we use when we don't really know what's going on. And I said to him, do me a favor from here and ask your clients, ask the people that come in, who they're angry with, what's going on with them from an anger perspective, like what they're holding on to, who they're irritated with. And I got a message from him about 6 or 8 months later, saying, actually, it might not have been that long, maybe about 5 months later, saying, you're absolutely right with the IBS, because we've been asking questions that have come in and we don't really know. And normally they'd get put in the IBS bucket, and actually their symptoms and their pain is starting to change. So this is a really, really, really important message for you guys. Like, if you've been diagnosed with IBS, I'm not saying it's in your head. Please don't think I'm saying that. What I'm saying is your body is communicating with you. You have had a reaction to something that your body is then going, hey, babe, like, you're having a reaction. And if we can just look at it like this, or we could look at it like that, or if we just make this tweak or that tweak, then all of a sudden you can shift it. And it is as simple as that. I'm actually going to the doctor tomorrow about lower back pain, which radiates to hip and thighs. So this is amazing timing. So lower back pain is a perception of being in lack around money. It's all about finances. Anything that you've got going on in your lower back area is to do with finances. Hips is all about support. So you obviously feel unsupported in a financial perspective from somewhere. So if you can actually get aligned to who it is, what the perception is, where you got it from, how long you've had it for, again, your lower back pain can be healed. But I want to make this very clear. Some people really get off on going to the doctors. Some people really do get off in holding on to their story because it justifies them and all of their behaviors. This is the biggest resistance I find when people come to me and they're like, oh, I've heard you that you do this and I've heard you can help me with this, and absolutely I can help anybody with anything. However, when it comes to recognizing that actually you've been a bit of a pain in the arse, or you've been a bit of a bitch, or you've been a bit mean or whatever, and actually having to own that, that's where the resistance comes. So it's all good and well having this knowledge, ladies and gents, but what we actually need to do is embody it. What we actually need to do is recognize how we have been using it for our advantage. Because I guarantee every single one of us have used it as our advantage to get away with something. You know, we play the whole wah, wah, wah kind of thing, you know, to get attention. Don't know where that's coming from. So just be very aware that we have these patterns. I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it. You know, we are very attached to having our story. We are very attached to, you know, everybody else is wrong, you know, and I'm right, when actually you had the reaction. You perceived yourself to not be being supported financially. Like, you didn't need to have that reaction. You didn't need to have that perception. You could have done other things. You could have gone off and, you know, got a second job, or you could have, like, whatever, you know. So it's very important that we recognize we are our best doctor. And every reaction that you create externally is what's going to come internally. So if you have a reaction, you're like, oh, that person, oh, they've let me down so badly, your body is going to be impacted in whatever area you need to get the memo on. Let me know if this is making sense whilst I have a quick drink of water. Is this making sense to you guys? I hope it is. I love talking about this stuff. Honestly, I can literally talk about this subject forever. So let's look at narcissistic relationships. Okay, let's look at narcissistic relationships. If you have a narcissistic relationship, your body is going to go into trauma, and chances are you're going to have weight gain. You're going to put on weight. Oh, thank you for listening, sweetheart. I appreciate that. When you are in a position whereby you are not sure where you're going and not sure what you're doing and not sure how to basically regulate yourself, you are going to go into a fight or flight. Okay, so your fight or flight basically puts you into a state of shock, and then we hit a cortisol response. And I mean, everywhere I look at the moment, people are trying to get you to sign up for this to do with cortisol, sign up to do that. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but it's everywhere. Everywhere I look, it's, or if you've got that little pouch on your belly, oh, you're having a cortisol response. The thing is, so many people do not realize that they have had a cortisol response since they were young because they didn't feel wanted, they didn't feel seen, and because they weren't abused or something serious, they don't realize that this is happening with them. It's very, very important that we just get the terminology and the recognition in our body. You have been in a fight or flight response. The worst thing you can do when you're in fight or flight is fast. It's the worst thing you can do. People say to me all the time, oh, I'm going to do intermittent fasting because I've put on weight. And I'm like, okay, like, what's been the period of it? Like, what's happened in that period? And then I'm like, actually, do you know what? I think you should probably give yourself a little bit more time. You know, it's been 2 years. Oh, it's been a year since I fasted, but it's been 2 years since the pregnancy. And I know damn well it is definitely linked to that. I know it is. You know how when you just know, like, I know, and I'm pretty, I don't know if anyone's ever told you this, but I'm pretty intuitive. Oh, it's probably what I'm best known for around the world, isn't it? I guess just being pulled from pillar to post on my intuition. It's absolutely wild. My intuition is absolutely on point at the moment as well. I love her so much. She's so amazing. So get clear on this. When you are in a narcissistic situation, or, you know, maybe you have lost a child, or maybe you've had a, you know, like I said earlier, a traumatic pregnancy, or maybe you've had an argument with your partner, your body will go into fight or flight. And then what happens is you do whatever you possibly can to look, yeah, I know, I am a little bit. Then you do whatever you can to release the weight, because all we see is the output. We don't see what went in to creating the weight. And I guarantee that your body fought, you know, tooth and nail for you for so many years, but you kept missing the memo. So eventually it went, okay, right, I'm going to have to put on weight so that you recognize it. I definitely identify as being an obsessive visitor to the doctor's pre-self-love club. I needed constantly to be told what's going on with my own body. Yes. And you know what? Nobody knows your body better than you. What you've done, Claire, is you've gone, I need validation. I need validation. I need validation. So I would be looking at myself, and I would be looking, where else do I look for validation? You know, where do you go hunting for validation all of the time? Because this, again, is a trauma response. You need to be validated because nobody validated you when you were younger. Nobody came to your rescue. Nobody gave you the words that you needed. Nobody heard you, or it was your perception that nobody heard you. Babe, don't ever be embarrassed. Don't ever be embarrassed. You know, the epiphanies that you have had since starting Self-Love Club are absolutely incredible. You know, I don't judge anybody for where they were. I'm looking at them now, and the shifts that you have had in these few months has been absolutely unbelievable. Because like you say, you were addicted to going to the doctors. You were addicted in looking for somebody to say, they're there, it's going to be okay. When you know yourself, you know, you're starting to just now get used to your body. You're starting to, you know, just have a relationship with your body. And this is why when I say everything happens with self-love, everything. You get a better connection with source when you love yourself. You have better relationships with other people when you love yourself. You only have that reaction when one of the parties don't love themselves. They don't feel adequate. They feel insecure. They feel inadequate, you know? So it's extremely important that we recognize the body that literally is chatting to us constantly every day. When cancer is produced, the body is trying to protect you. And then we go and poke it and we cut it and we spread it and all the rest of it. You know, it's your body saying you need to change your lifestyle. And Claire, so Claire's put in the chat, I was looking for and calling in things to be wrong or illnesses. Of course, because it got you attention. It got you the attention that you craved. Now, you weren't doing it maliciously. You had absolutely zero consciousness on it. Because I remember the day when you got the epiphany and you were like, oh my good God, I've done this to myself. Oh my goodness gracious me, right? How do I do something about this? Like, I remember the day very clearly. You know, it's so important that we recognize that every reaction we have, whether it's somebody cutting us up in the car, somebody telling us that we're not pretty enough when we were little, you know, us not getting our own way in a situation. All of this is a traumatic event, which then creates a reaction within the body. Lucy, I've heard that when animals in the wild, they're in trauma, they shake themselves to release the trauma. Yeah, absolutely. Which is why, like anybody that came to the retreat, they know what I do, how I show people. You know, I constantly throughout the day make sure that I'm releasing trauma, anything that I've picked up, anything that I've walked past people, anything that I've got going on in my own life. Because, you know, people, I think there's a perception that, you know, because I'm a coach and I coach thousands of people around the world, I think people think, oh yeah, you know, she's perfect. Absolutely not. And this is why I'm so real and raw with you guys. You know, I am far from perfect. I've got coaches myself. I work with all sorts of different people on all sorts of different things because I value myself so much. And I have not invested the last 12 years in me and making me be the best version for me to not practice what I preach behind closed doors. And that's something that's very important to me. Like, I am really authentic. Well, this is what you guys tell me all the time anyway, when you meet me and when you spend time with me, like, because I'm real and I'm raw. So this is the empowerment that we need to give ourselves. Claire, you need to take ownership back of your body. You need to have a relationship with your body. You need to love your body. And I guarantee when you can do that, all of this trauma that has been created and all the reasons why you had to have all of that dis-ease, then you'll be able to bring it into alignment and you'll actually be able to release all of it. It's so important. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely, it will be able to work. I put on a lot of weight during my marriage, started losing weight when I started my self-love journey, never joined those dots before. Yep, that's what it is. You know, until you actually get, you know, in alignment with your body and in alignment with that your body has basically been giving you these trauma responses, you know, to you running and eating the candy, you know, to you not walking because actually you want to sit on your ass because you're being lazy because, you know, your partner's upset you, so you're just going to sit there in a sulk. You know, this is all trauma responses and your body needs to release trauma. The best way to release trauma? Move. Yes, you're absolutely right, Veronica. So Veronica's put a comment on YouTube for those of you watching on Facebook that has made me smile so much. So I'm going to read it out. You're not eating the cookie behind the door. If you eat the cookie, you eat it on stage in front of everyone because you walk your talk. I think she's nailed it pretty much. I am as straight as they come and I will just get myself in, and I call myself out all the time. You guys need to watch my YouTube videos. I'm constantly calling myself. I'm like, no, that's not true. So it's really quite amusing when I get going on these things. But hopefully that this subject is really, really starting to bring a few things into your mind, you know. So a few things that you can do. In fact, before I go on, triggered. When you get triggered, it's just trauma resurfacing. Let me know if that resonates with you. Okay, it's really, really, really important. You know, I personally would not be fasting for weight loss. What I would be doing is upping my movement, upping my water, and I would be upping my, reducing my food portion sizes. That's how I would start. And I'd be really gentle, and I'd be really gentle for quite a period of time. And then you could kick something else extra into it because it's just not good for your body to do that. Likewise, if you believe you've got a parasite, the worst thing you can do is fast, believe it or not. You actually need to nurture those bloody things out of you over a period of weeks. And you will give yourself more of a trauma response, and actually they could create worse issues with your body doing it. Obviously, depends where they are, it depends what they are, because there's people make a sweeping statement on parasites. There's millions. You know, there's thousands and thousands of different types of parasites. So we have to be very clear on that. Different ones need different things to be able to get rid of them. So it's extremely important that we stop making these bold, sweeping statements for everything. So a few things that can help you release the trauma from your body. Massage, an amazing tool. Therapy, go speak to somebody. No, I agree, Sophia. Not all parasites are bad. And we've got lots of bacteria in the body and all sorts of things like that. But everybody bans around parasite, get rid of this, clean this, do that. And actually some parasites can make you very sick if you fast, and actually they produce a lot quicker. So you have to be very careful and get rid of them. But that's a whole another subject for another day. So massage is amazing. Therapy is amazing. Somatic therapy, somatic breath work, and what Linda was messaging about a moment ago. Body realignment, amazing. Boxing, Muay Thai, you know, like really recognize that all of this stuff is a great output. You know, for me personally, doing Thai boxing was the best output of anger that I ever had. You know, there is such a beautiful gift in being able to go to the gym and just smash it out. And then you're like, wow, I feel amazing. So, you know, I'm not saying that boxing or Muay Thai is for everybody. However, it's a really beautiful way of releasing some of the trapped emotions in your body. Dancing, you know, one of my clients recently said to me, oh my God, I'm going to sign up for a belly dancing class. I'm like, amazing. This is an amazing way to shake your trauma responses. So it's really important that we recognize that trauma is a severe stress response. Okay, how we react to stress is how trauma is grown. That's basically how it happens. The only person who can create stress in your body is you. No one else can do that. They can do something which creates a reaction in you to become stressed, absolutely. But please do not think that it is the other person. It's you and the way that you have reacted to whatever perception that you've had on what they've done. Okay, is this making sense with you guys? I hope it is. So there is so many things that you can do. I'm going to say to you guys, if this kind of stuff really sits well with you, get yourselves along to my Mastering Your Mind, my apologies, event in Birmingham on the 22nd of March 2025. It's going to be an event where I really bring up into the surface of up into your mind how you can actually use your mind for the greater good. Now, whether that's abundance, whether that's health, whether that's relationships, whatever, it's about learning how to reprogram your mind so that you can invest going forwards in yourself. It's the best thing that you can do. Also, ladies and gents, I've got some Black Friday deals out that are only available until the end of day today. So do head over there. I've got a course at £7.77, so nice and cheap for people if you're just starting out with your who you are kind of journey. And then there's some other stuff in there as well, guys. So do go check those out before they go off tonight. Now, you guys have got some homework. Go and write down everything that's going on in your body. Get clear on it. You know, that pimple that reoccurs on your chin, is that normal? Probably not. So let's get clear on that. Let's get clear on why you're, oh, my nails break all the time, actually. Oh, yeah, I hadn't thought about that before. Get very, very clear, because every single thing will help you. So Linda's asked on YouTube, Lucy, when you constantly talk about your disease or condition, will this affect more? Yes, it will. So I always say to people, divorce yourself from it. I saw somebody today say, my cancer. Don't do that. It's the cancer. Divorce it. You give power to it. Remember, anything that you are affirming, you are giving power to. So it's really important that you recognize that that disease is not part of you. It doesn't need to be part of you. It's a part of you that you've called in to get a memo. Now get the memo. So divorce yourself from talking about it. These people that talk about their sickness and their disease constantly, it's because it's their story. They want their story to be justified so amazingly. Oh, poor me. So they go into that victimhood. It's victim consciousness. And actually, ladies and gents, that's lack. It's as simple as that. If you are in victim consciousness, if you're in lack, you're going to hold on to the sickness or the disease. It's very, very, very important for us to recognize that. So, ladies and gents, I hope you have found this useful. I will be back talking about this subject soon, no doubt, because I blooming well love it, and we'll go into some other areas. But hopefully the examples that I've given you today are something different that you've not heard me speak about before, and that will help some of you on your journeys right now. Okay, guys, I love you to the moon and stars. I have loved it too, and I will see you soon. Lots of love. Ciao, ciao for now, guys. Bye-bye.